Good Thursday morning, everyone. Welcome back. You're watching the Kaiser Report. I'm John, coming to you today from East Tennessee on a beautiful, beautiful day. One more time. This is my favorite time of year and my favorite season to go into, with the leaves churning and ready to fall. The acorns are falling already. And we're looking forward to a wonderful, wonderful weekend again here. As we approach the weekend, the news cycle has been taken up completely yesterday by the fact that there was another school shooting in Georgia, and it was done by a 14-year-old kid. We have no really news on what took place and how it happened. But a lot of people were killed and hospitalized. I think there were 9 people hospitalized and maybe 3 or 4 critically injured. So we have that going on. Mental illness in this country is at an all-time high with regard to what goes on this social media platforms that we are all tied into. Especially the younger generation. They live on, Instagram and Facebook and, I don't know the names of some of these platforms that they spend time on. And then, of course, you have all these games and gamers that are out there, with shoot 'em up, kill, and they're beginning to be so desensitized that they believe that, they're like the characters in their games. They'll get up tomorrow and play again. Well, it doesn't work that way. I don't know what's going on with the parents at home that are watching these kids play these things or play out in their mind things with weapons of that nature. I'm sure for the next few days that the left will grab on to, ban all guns, buy back guns, and all this other stuff. It's not the guns that are the problem. The problem is the amount of discipline that is shown to our younger people in their formative years. And secondarily, the amount of influence that are coming to your children on these platforms and on these cell phones and on the iPads and the laptops. You need to get a hold of what your children are looking at and find out why in the world we're trying to influence people to be weaponized, number one. Well, we have a classic example in our government of weaponizing 3-letter agencies to go after people they don't like. So, we set a bad example, and then we wonder why they get involved in the things that they're getting into.
That's creepy.
It's a shame, and I wish and pray for the people that were affected by this shooter yesterday. I understand they're going to try him as an adult, but that doesn't bring back a life or make it okay. But God bless those people that have suffered through this, and I hope for the best for their families and dealing with a very ugly situation. Speaking of ugly situations, I guess that the Fox network ran a town hall last night that I understand that Kamala Harris was invited to, but she's busy studying for the upcoming debate that will take place next week. And so they're going to have her in Pittsburgh for some reason studying for the debate. You would think by now she would have concrete information to go into a debate with, and she shouldn't have to be schooled in what to say in a debate. But the problem is there is no substance to what she thinks that she can flip-flop around and convince you that she now thinks a different way than she thought last year or for the last 3.5 or more years, while she's in a situation where she could do these things immediately. But no, we're going to wait until I'm elected, and then on day one, I'm going to do this, that, and the other thing. Well, unfortunately, your day one happened a long, long time ago, and you've shown us nothing. So, yes, they have to school her, and yes, they have to rehearse her answers and make sure that ABC has the correct questions to ask that she can muddle through with hocus pocus, because it's unburdened here and the future is here. That's what you're going to get if she's left alone to talk on her own. But they're not going to let that happen.
Radical.
Some of the biggest fears that have come across the table recently with regard to the never-Trumpers that are out there, driven by people that are in power in the White House right now, is a massive fear of Donald Trump being elected and releasing the Epstein logs. There's a whole lot of people that are worried, sick over that happening, because there's a lot of hidden nonsense that have taken place from God only knows how many years. But it is existing, and there's evidence out there. But much like their Hunter laptop, you're not going to hear much about that. But they're afraid that if he gets in and releases it to a media outlet, that there's going to be hell to pay. And rightly so, they should. The military-industrial complex in this country, we were warned way back by Eisenhower that this was not going to be a good situation if we let this happen. But guess who's in power in this country? You have the corporations that she wants so badly to go after, to rape money, to give away money, is the pharmaceutical companies and the military-industrial complex. They're making money left and right by producing weapons of war that we can sell off to other nations, while our stockpiles have been depleted due to basically the Ukraine situation that's going on. And, this is keeping them in business, and wars keep them in business. But we are at a all-time low level in our stores to defend us if we have to go to war. We'll be out of ammunition, and we'll be out of necessary rocketry and things of that nature inside the first month of that war, unless things change. Why are we arming our enemies for the sake of letting a couple of corporations make a ton of cash?
Aha! Got him!
And then there's the fact that if certain people get elected, our taxes are going to increase to pay for all the handouts that we're going to give first-time buyers and illegal aliens that have poured through this country. And now she's running on a campaign that she's going to fix the border. She's had 3.5+ years to fix that border. Don't tell me that when you're elected, magically it's going to close, because it's not. Because we know that you're letting 2,500 legally through the ports of entry right now, and that'll just increase. And by the way, the gotaways and the people that are not going through the legal entry levels are building into the millions.
Not good. Seriously, not good.
So be very, very careful. Educate yourself as much as you can about the real platforms from these people. There's all kinds of places you can go on YouTube and other channels that you can find what she has said in the past. It's on film and it's on recordings. That she cannot deny this. This debate will be something to watch. If they were selling tickets to it, I'd buy one, because it's got to be embarrassing for her side, because she's done nothing in the entire time that she has been vice president of this country, and done nothing. And now if we elect her, all of a sudden she'll come alive and do this? I'd sooner trust Joe Biden. At least when he lies on a daily basis, you know it's a lie. This one is pandering to all kinds of different sections of voters and changing her accents, and it's so phony that it's in your face a joke. How she can go out and make up these accents that she's never had before, trying to be this color or that color or a worker, and using working vernacular that she has no idea what she's talking about. And they're up in Michigan doing all kinds of, visits to the UAW and places like that. These people need to realize that if you're electing her, you're electing yourself out of a job. It'll be gone. It's already on its way out. We need somebody to throw a lifeline into our automobile industry and start producing cars like we used to get things that people really want to buy, not something that they're told they have to transition into. So the electric car has been a total failure, with exception of probably Elon Musk, Tesla, who is the number one position. But when they go to talk to people like GM, she said that to GM that thank God for them because they have electrified the United States. She made this statement when they had completed 13 cars. And we all know how that went for GM. They're on the lots and they can't sell them. They have problems. General Motors was not ready for this, but she is touting them as being the primary drive to electrifying America. That's not true. Another lie, because Elon Musk owns that market right now with his products and outsells everyone else. And there's nothing wrong with an electric car. If that is your choice to buy, you should go buy it. There's nothing wrong with it. It has its drawbacks, and they're widely known, but there are a market for people which will drive these cars, and that's fine. But you cannot do away with the combustion engine vehicles, because this is what mainstream Americans need to buy, and buy at a reasonable cost, not an inflated cost, because every car manufacturer had to dump billions into retooling for the electric car, because they were told by the Biden administration, which was an integral part and parcel to Harris being involved in this, that they had to retool and they had to be ready for by 2028 to be totally electric. And this is what hurt the automobile industry, and she is no different now, except she wears pastel pantsuits that are too big for her. And this is the big change that we're going to expect from Kamala. It's an ugly situation that we're in, but as Trump said last night at that town hall meeting, you may not like me, you may hate me, but you're going to need to have to survive, and you're going to have to vote for me. And whether it stinks or not to your palate, you need to study both candidates and look at the track record that they have set. It's there. One is a sitting vice president right now with zero accomplishments in the jobs that she was tasked to do, mainly the border. So research as much as you can before you cast that early vote. And I think that if your mind is already made up, you need to vote early, because the day of election, where the last poll I saw on who was going to vote on the day of election, it was a very large percentage, in the 60 percentile, that said they were going to vote day of election. A lot can happen between then and now, and I can understand. I've always voted on day of election. But if you look at the 2020 election, where all the machines magically go down for hours and then they can't count the stuff, and all the nonsense that they can pull with boxes and boxes of mail-in ballots that no one knows where they came from, these are all problems that are going to hit us on day of election. Power outages, threats, and I don't know. They can come up with a myriad of things that will interfere day of election. So if your mind is made up already, whether it's one side or the other, go ahead and use the mail-in vote or the early vote that you're being able to be given in some of these states, and get it registered now before they start playing day of election games with voting machines and everything else. Because they're not going to go down quietly. If it goes against the Democratic Party, they probably have fail-safes built in to make sure that they're going to win, come hook or crook. They did it in 2020. I don't care if you can call me a conspiracy theorist or whatever, but all of the evidence points to the exact thing that they're going to try to do again in this election. This candidate cannot stand on her own, and she's been installed as the presidential candidate. No one ever voted for this woman. No one ever liked this woman. And now all of a sudden, she is a star. Based on what? And then she picks Walz as a vice presidential candidate, who is a complete wacko, clown. What's that about? You want to talk about communism, you're looking at two proponents for it. And they have a track record of saying it. Research it, study, inform yourself before you get into this election cycle. There's a lot to be learned about this candidate and the other candidate. They both have track records. Let's look at their track records of accomplishments and failures and go from there. This is how we have to educate ourselves. So it's Thursday, and it's September, and we're embarking on a weekend that we hope to get out and about and see something this weekend. And next weekend, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after, I'll be back in Asheville, North Carolina, and I'll be getting you some film on downtown Asheville, North Carolina. It's a great time of year to be up there. There are some wonderful foods places and shopping there, in a very, very friendly town, artsy town. So we'll be bringing you some of that. So we have that to look forward to. And in this weekend, maybe we'll get out and have another picnic somewhere and get you some film on that. Relaxing things. So, as I said, we have a lot to look forward to with the fake news cycle feeding you all the nonsense about this school shooting and all of the lies to promote Kamala Harris. And did you hear yesterday about Alexis, the Amazon thing that you talk to in your house for turning on lights and things like that? It's been listening to everything you say, and they're targeting you with that. But the big news is, if you ask Alexis to talk to you about Donald Trump, it'll say we cannot get involved in political situations, And then you ask it, why should I vote for Kamala Harris? And it comes out with a list of her accomplishments. How much election interference are we going to allow Amazon, Google, and Siri to take advantage of us with? That is illegal. And Bezos needs to be brought on the carpet for that, because that algorithm was put in there by people hired, the diversity hires that sit there and program Alexis to tell you what you need to know. But it's like if you go into Google and put in Donald Trump, it comes up with Kamala Harris statements. This is election interference. Our government right now, this administration is practicing election interference, and it's being driven by the staff in the White House and that whole carnival of a cabinet that he has. And now Merrick Garland is shooting his mouth off again yesterday about how he's going to back Jack Smith on this reenactment of the suit that they threw out once. So they reworded a few things and made it 4 pages less, and now they're going to try this again. This is election interference at its finest. Someone needs to be brought on the carpet for it and realized that this is happening. And fake news, MSNBC and CNN are aiding and abetting to the false information going out, especially if you listen to Morning Joe the Joke, with Mika sitting next to him going, yes, I agree. This guy is a crazy person who lies to you every day, and why he has any viewership is beyond my understanding. But I try not to get involved in political talk on a daily basis here, but it's almost impossible not to. So there is my thoughts for today. You need to pray for this country, educate yourself that you are making the right choice when you do vote, whether it's early voting, whether it's day of voting, or mail-in voting. And if you're deployed overseas, don't forget you do have a valid way to vote through absentee voting. So make arrangements as such, because you people in the military understand what this country is up against right now, especially the deployed units that are out there that have to deal with the crap that we've been thrown into around the world. It's a powder keg. And if we're not very careful, we're going to go into a depression like 1929 and run a very high risk of World War III, which will be a nuclear Armageddon. So your vote is so very important this year at the voting booth, early voting, whenever. But you need to get out and vote. And if you're sitting on a fence because you don't like either party, you're going to have to pick the best of the two choices you have who promise to do something and have a track record of already having accomplished some things that they said they would do, which Kamala Harris has none. There is not one thing you can put a finger on except the tie-breaking votes that caused inflation in this country, and it's not going to get any better unless we fix a few things and start minding the store with regard to overspending and balancing budgets for this country, which badly need to be done. So with that, I'm going to wish you a very, very happy Thursday. Remember, we love you here at the Kaiser Report. If you haven't subscribed, please do. And we'll see you back here tomorrow for the Friday Kaiser Report, going into a wonderful weekend. And until then, I'm going to just say bye-bye now. Have a great day.